Surfing as a martial artist and jiu-jitsu practitioner, one of the things that really struck me is
As a Luxembourger.
as a Luxembourg as well. One of the things that really struck me is like I couldn't really find a clear path. You know, like when you do jiu-jitsu, music, whatever you practice, you have golf, basketball, whatever. There's like always a clear path in coaching where, you know, if you do these drills, if you do this kind of like muscle exercises, it's going to lead to a better outcome in that practice. Yeah.
It's kind of like music, right? Like you can, when you listen to a jazz musician or you listen to an amazing musician in a state of flow, yes, in that moment they are presenting themselves as effortless, but there is a lot of musical understanding and training that's gone into understanding those chords and those movements to look effortless in that state of flow. And I think that's a misconnection sometimes in the surf narrative, like, oh, you need to be effortless. And it's like, okay, but you probably need to understand how to move and how to interact with your board and how to interact with the wave to then be in a state of flow that creates the outcome of like a cutback of Mikey February. A Mikey February didn't just wake up and be born and be surfing like that. You know, there's been a lot of like training of movement.
You're always utilizing big parts of your body, like the back muscles, the leg muscles, the hips, etc. When I started surfing, people told me I should just use my head. And that didn't translate, and that never made sense to me.
It's just like a biomechanical language that's used in so many disciplines.
True.
That's non-debatable. You know, this is anatomy and biomechanics. This isn't us trying to make a hack, trying to make some new way of like describing the way you should trick yourself into doing a cutback. It's, you know, I'm a sports physiotherapist by trade, and for me it was really just about, okay, well, what is it in the other disciplines that have had a bigger history of breaking down the practice? Athletics and sprinting or basketball, you know, there's a lot of other sports where the movements themselves have really been broken down by a common language. And I think that's something that's really interesting in surf culture, where, you know, you go online and you look at what's out there, and it's so much just like opinion and tricks, I guess, for people to feel like they can trick themselves into creating a particular outcome. And I feel that's quite disempowering. I think actually if you look at really understanding in detail what's happening in the body, what's happening in the board, how that interaction plays out in terms of the representation of a cutback, then you're in a much more empowered position.